In the bustling city, Sarah moved through the rhythm of life, each step accompanied by the erratic beats of her emotions. Unbeknownst to her, this emotional rollercoaster dictated not only the color but the very texture of her experiences. The unchecked fury over a minor inconvenience, the tears that flowed freely at the slightest provocation. Sarah's emotional landscape resembled a storm-tossed sea. Sarah's work environment, a high-stakes corporate setting, amplified the impact of her emotions. The stress of deadlines, the pressure of competition, and the demanding nature of her profession acted as catalysts, intensifying the tempest within her. A misplaced word from a colleague became a thunderclap, and a minor setback felt like a tidal wave threatening to engulf her. Her personal life wasn't spared from the storm either. Relationships, delicate under the best of circumstances, quivered under the weight of Sarah's emotional turbulence. The unpredictability of her reactions created an atmosphere of tension, leaving those close to her walking on proverbial eggshells. As the storms in her life gathered intensity, Sarah found herself standing at a crossroads. The realization that her emotions held the reins of her existence became painfully evident. It was at this juncture that she sought refuge and guidance, a lifeline amid the tumultuous sea of her emotions. This quest led her to the wise Professor Eleanor, a beacon of calm in the chaos, whose reputation for imparting emotional wisdom had reached Sarah's ears. Curiosity mingled with desperation, Sarah hesitated at the entrance of Professor Eleanor's office. The storm in her eyes mirrored the turmoil within. With a deep breath, she knocked, her quest for emotional control poised at the threshold of transformation. As Professor Eleanor opened the door to find Sarah standing there, the professor's keen gaze penetrated beyond the storm in Sarah's eyes. Eleanor, a sage of emotional intelligence, saw not just a person seeking guidance but a soul entangled in the tempest of her own emotions. There was an unspoken understanding, an acknowledgement that emotions, when unbridled, could wreak havoc. The professor's office, an oasis of serenity, contrasted starkly with the emotional whirlwind Sarah carried. Eleanor's expression softened, a mixture of empathy and a flicker of hope. In Sarah, the professor sensed the potential for transformation, an eager pupil ready to navigate the labyrinth of her own feelings. Seated across from Sarah, Professor Eleanor spoke not with judgment but with a profound understanding of the human emotional landscape. Sarah, the professor began, emotions are the colors that paint the canvas of our lives. But when the palette is chaotic, the masterpiece becomes a discordant symphony. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them, like a skilled artist. The quote, carefully chosen, hung in the air like a lifeline for Sarah. Embrace your emotions, but don't let them be the puppeteer of your existence. Professor Eleanor continued. In the storm, find the eye, a place of calm and clarity where you can navigate with purpose. As Eleanor spoke, Sarah felt a gentle reassurance, a lifeline thrown into the tumultuous sea. It wasn't just advice, it was an invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery and emotional mastery. The professor, recognizing Sarah's resilience beneath the emotional tempest, was willing to guide her through the turbulent waters. The motivation behind Professor Eleanor's willingness to help was rooted in a deep belief in the transformative power of emotional intelligence. Eleanor had witnessed countless storms in the lives of students, each one a unique tempest. Guiding these students toward emotional clarity was not just a vocation but a calling, an opportunity to instill resilience and wisdom in the next generation. Sarah's vulnerability resonated with the professor, stirring a maternal instinct to nurture and guide. Eleanor knew that within the storm, there was a hidden strength waiting to be unearthed. The professor had seen the profound impact of emotional mastery, how it could turn chaos into calm, and despair into determination. As Eleanor imparted wisdom and shared the chosen quote, there was a glimmer of hope in Sarah's eyes. It wasn't a promise to calm the storm instantly but an assurance that within the chaos, Sarah held the power to find her own calm. The emotional tempest, once harnessed, could propel Sarah towards a life defined not by the storms but by the serenity found within. The chosen quote, a beacon of wisdom, found a home in the corridors of Sarah's mind. Embrace your emotions, but don't let them be the puppeteer of your existence. These words echoed in her consciousness, a constant reminder that emotions were meant to be felt, not to control the strings of her life. In the stillness of her room, Sarah began to explore mindfulness practices guided by the professor's teachings. The journey was not an easy one, it was a deliberate step into the realm of self-awareness. Each breath became a conscious anchor, grounding her in the present moment. Mindfulness, like a gentle breeze, started to sweep away the debris of tumultuous thoughts. Sarah's progress was gradual, akin to the unfolding of a delicate flower. The storms within her began to subside, revealing the first glimpses of a calmer sea. Mindfulness wasn't about banishing emotions, it was about acknowledging them without being consumed. As Sarah observed her thoughts, she discovered the power to choose her responses, a revelation that slowly transformed her inner landscape. The quote, once a lifeline, now became a mantra during moments of emotional turbulence. In the face of anger, it whispered, "Don't be the puppet." In the depths of sadness, it echoed, "You are the master of your emotions." Sarah, through consistent practice, was rewriting the script of her emotional responses. Professor Eleanor, observing the blossoming transformation from a distance, recognized the signs of a soul reclaiming its agency. Sarah's eyes, once stormy, now held a quiet resilience. The professor, a silent guide in this journey, felt a profound sense of fulfillment witnessing the evolution of a student into a master of her emotional palette. The progress was not linear, there were setbacks and challenges. Yet, within the ebb and flow of emotions, Sarah learned to navigate with grace. Mindfulness became her compass, and the chosen quote, a steadfast companion. The storms, when they came, were met with a newfound courage, a courage rooted in the understanding that emotions were not adversaries but allies in the symphony of life. As Sarah continued her mindfulness practices, the changes rippled beyond the surface. Her relationships, once strained by emotional turbulence, began to reflect the harmony she cultivated within. The stormy seas transformed into tranquil waters, allowing for genuine connections to flourish. The impact wasn't confined to Sarah alone, it radiated outward, touching the lives of those around her. Friends noticed the subtle shift, a greater sense of presence, a genuine warmth that replaced the erratic waves of emotion. The transformation, though quiet, was profound. The professor, in a quiet conversation with Sarah, acknowledged the beauty of her journey. "You've embraced the storm within and found the eye, a place of calm and clarity," Eleanor remarked. "Remember, the journey doesn't end, it evolves. Continue to be the master of your emotions, and you'll navigate life's oceans with grace." And so, Sarah's journey of mindfulness and emotional mastery continued, a testament to the transformative power of self-awareness and the wisdom encapsulated in a simple yet profound quote. In the blossoming soul of Sarah, the storms had given way to a serene landscape, painting a portrait of resilience, growth, and the quiet strength found within. The cityscape sprawled before Sarah, the same bustling streets that once felt like a chaotic maze. The air hummed with the familiar symphony of urban life. But within her, something had shifted, subtle, yet profound. As she navigated through the crowded sidewalks, a scene unfolded that mirrored a chapter from her past. A colleague, known for his sharp critiques, stood at the center of a heated discussion. The topic, an upcoming project that carried the weight of expectations and deadlines. In the pre-mindfulness era, this scenario would have been a trigger for a tempest within Sarah. The clash of opinions, the looming pressure, and the anticipation of criticism, all ingredients for a storm. Anxiety would grip her like a vice, emotions would swell, and the internal dialogue would play out in dissonant chords. But this time, as Sarah approached the fray, a calmness enveloped her. The mindfulness practices, the conscious breathing, and the understanding of her emotional landscape had transformed her inner response to external stimuli. The colleagues' critiques, though sharp, were met with a composed acknowledgement. The pressure of deadlines became a challenge to be embraced, not a specter haunting her peace. Sarah, once a participant in the tempest, now stood as an observer, detached from the whirlwind of emotions that once dictated her reactions. In the midst of the discussion, a comment surfaced, a direct criticism of Sarah's proposed approach. The old narrative, fueled by insecurity and defensiveness, would have triggered a defensive response. Yet, the new Sarah, nurtured by mindfulness, chose a different path. She listened attentively, allowing the words to hang in the air without immediately formulating a response. The pause was intentional, a product of mindful reflection rather than a reaction driven by ego. Instead of a verbal counterattack, Sarah responded with a measured tone, addressing concerns without sacrificing her newfound calm. The shift in Sarah's approach didn't go unnoticed. Her colleagues, accustomed to the storms that once accompanied such interactions, witnessed a composed and collected response. The tempest that threatened to engulf the moment had been replaced by a breeze of resilience, a testament to the transformative power of mindfulness. As the discussion concluded and the colleagues dispersed, Sarah found herself reflecting on the encounter. The external circumstances had mirrored the past, but the internal landscape was vastly different. The tempest had given way to a calm sea, and Sarah sailed through the challenges with a newfound sense of mastery. In a quiet moment of reflection, Sarah acknowledged the role of mindfulness in rewriting her responses. The same triggers that once initiated emotional storms had become opportunities for mindful navigation. The mindfulness practices, the breath that anchored her, and the understanding that emotions were transient, all contributed to the serene aftermath of what could have been a tempestuous encounter. And so, the city continued its rhythm, unaware of the internal metamorphosis that had taken place within Sarah. The familiar tempests no longer held the power to dictate her emotional weather. In the dance of urban life, Sarah had found her rhythm, a rhythm guided by the mindful cadence of her own heartbeat. Mindfulness had become Sarah's trusted ally, a beacon in the labyrinth of emotions. But the journey toward emotional mastery wasn't confined to a single practice. Sarah, fueled by a newfound determination, sought to explore additional avenues to deepen her understanding and control of emotions. The next chapter in her emotional odyssey led her to the realm of self-expression. Sarah had always been a proficient communicator, but the transformation she sought went beyond the articulation of thoughts. It delved into the realm of creative expression as a means to process and navigate the intricate landscape of emotions. In a small, sunlit studio, Sarah began to experiment with various forms of artistic expression. The canvas became her confidant, absorbing the hues of her emotions, and the brush, an extension of her inner dialogue. The strokes on the canvas mirrored the ebb and flow of her emotional tides, sometimes gentle, at other times bold and assertive. Art became a conduit for the unspoken, a visual diary of emotions that transcended the boundaries of language. The act of creation allowed Sarah to externalize the intangible, transforming nebulous feelings into tangible forms. The canvas became a mirror that reflected not just her artistic endeavors but the evolving landscape of her emotional world. Alongside this creative exploration, Sarah delved into the world of journaling. The written word, like strokes on a canvas, became a vessel for her emotions. Journaling was more than a record of events. It became a process of self-inquiry, a dialogue with the self in moments of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. As Sarah chronicled her emotional journey, patterns began to emerge. The act of putting pen to paper clarified the nebulous contours of her feelings. It wasn't merely a recounting of events but a deliberate attempt to understand the emotional undercurrents that shaped her responses. The combined practices of mindfulness, artistic expression, and journaling formed a holistic approach to emotional well-being. Each facet contributed to a symphony of self-discovery, allowing Sarah to navigate the labyrinth with newfound clarity. In social settings, the impact of this multi-dimensional approach manifested in subtle yet profound ways. Interactions that once carried the weight of unspoken emotions became opportunities for genuine connection. Sarah, armed with a palette of emotional awareness, engaged in conversations with an authentic presence. In moments of joy, she reveled without the shadow of impending worry. In moments of sorrow, she allowed herself the grace of vulnerability. The emotional spectrum, once a tumultuous sea, had become a navigable terrain, a testament to the efficacy of a multifaceted approach to emotional well-being. As the chapter unfolded, Sarah stood at the intersection of mindfulness, art, and introspection. The practices, once disparate threads, wove together into a tapestry of emotional resilience. The transformation wasn't a destination but a continuous journey, a journey where Sarah discovered that emotional mastery wasn't about stifling emotions but understanding and navigating them with grace. And so, in the quiet studio with canvases adorned with colors and journals filled with words, Sarah continued her exploration. The brushes danced, the pen moved, and the breath remained an anchor. In this synthesis of practices, she found not just emotional control but the profound ability to embrace the rich tapestry of human emotions with a compassionate heart. Sarah's journey toward emotional mastery was a testament to the transformative power of intentional practices. Through the intertwining paths of mindfulness, artistic expression, and journaling, she unearthed a profound understanding of her emotions. But the significance of her journey extended beyond personal growth. It carried universal lessons for anyone navigating the intricate fabric of life. In the quiet studio, Sarah's brushes had painted not just colors on canvases but a narrative of resilience. Her journals had become a testimony to the courage required to confront and understand the depths of one's emotions. The fusion of these practices wove a tapestry of emotional intelligence, a tapestry not devoid of challenges, but one that embraced them as integral threads. Control over emotions, as Sarah discovered, wasn't synonymous with suppression. It wasn't about stifling the vibrancy of feelings but about understanding, acknowledging, and navigating them with a compassionate heart. The canvas of emotions, much like an ever-changing landscape, required not control but skillful navigation. Through mindfulness, Sarah had learned the art of being present in the moment, allowing emotions to ebb and flow without overwhelming her. In artistic expression, she found a language that transcended words, a medium to externalize the ineffable hues of her emotional palette. Journaling became a compass, guiding her through the labyrinth of self-discovery. The importance of controlling one's emotions, Sarah realized, wasn't about erasing the spectrum of feelings but about forging a relationship with them. It was an acknowledgement that emotions were not adversaries but allies, messengers carrying insights about the self. For everyone navigating the complexities of life, Sarah's journey echoed an essential truth: emotional intelligence is a skill that can be cultivated. The ability to understand and manage emotions isn't a privilege reserved for a select few but a birthright accessible to all. The lessons drawn from Sarah's odyssey were a call to embrace the emotional tapestry of existence. Each emotion, whether joyous or challenging, was a thread contributing to the richness of life. It was an invitation to lean into the discomfort, to dance with vulnerability, and to engage with the full spectrum of human experience. In the tapestry of life, emotions were not adversaries but integral threads, each weaving a unique pattern. Through intentional practices and a compassionate approach, Sarah had not just controlled her emotions, she had learned to dance with them, harmonizing the symphony of her existence. And as the brush strokes dried on canvases and the ink settled in journals, Sarah stood at the threshold of a new chapter. Her journey, a testament to the importance of emotional mastery, invited others to embark on their own exploration. The lessons were clear: embrace the tapestry, navigate the threads with intention, and, above all, recognize the profound beauty that emerges when emotions are not controlled but celebrated in their entirety.